Boys
Hello,
is bad pipes. It's your boys.
welcome to the Bad Pipes Podcast. I'm your host. Scott. I don't have anything funny to say.
I'm your host, Ryan Gosling. He's literally me. I'm Andrew. This whole intro has been so cringe already.
Yeah.
All right, so this week, we got 3 Goslings in a row. All right. We watched The Gray Man, Bladerunner 2049, and The Nice Guys.
Is that the order you want to do it in?
I was going to ask you, do you have an order you want to go through it in?
It's funny because the order you listed there is how I have them open in Rotten Tomatoes.
I mean, that's how I wrote it down last week, so...
That's also the order I watched them in.
Nice. It's not the order I watched them in.
Nice.
Actually, if you reversed it, that would be the order I watched it in. That said, I guess we're starting with The Gray Man. If this is your first time with the Bad Pipes Podcast, what we do is we basically review modern movies. We just movies in general now. Sometimes we'll have little one-off episodes. Like, I think coming up, we're gonna do an AI girlfriend review. So
we're definitely doing an AI girlfriend review now, especially after watching Blade Runner 2049.
Oh hell yeah! Oh hell yeah! So I guess we're starting with The Gray Man.
Yeah.
This is a Netflix movie made by Netflix.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. First things first. I hate the dialogue in this movie.
Yeah. So this was the only one out of the 3 that I had already seen prior to making the decision to watch these 3, and this is probably the most forgettable of the 3.
Oh yeah, by far.
It is. I feel like it is a very generic action flick. Like,
yeah.
I want to say this, and I think it goes hand in hand with like pretty much the majority of what he's in, aside from like Blade Runner. I feel like Ryan Gosling kind of has this niche of like the comedy action guy, the comedy action hero.
Yeah, almost like a Ryan Reynolds, but usually with less quippiness.
Yeah, exactly.
I did while I was watching this. Freaking what's his name? The bad guy.
Chris Pine. No, not Chris Pine. Chris Evans. God
Chris
damn.
Evans. Yeah, so he has that line where he's like, "Will someone put a bullet in this Kindle?" And I was like, I looked at Shelby and I was like, "Is that why you got the Kin roll?"
That was the inspiration. That was the decision. Chris Evans is actually who casted Ryan Gosling as Ken. Straight up.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah.
I think someone watched this movie and they went, "You know what? He would be a good kid."
Yeah. That's it. All was said and done.
That said, I honestly did not enjoy this movie. Oh man, it just like goes on and on and on. I don't know. Maybe like, what year did this come out?
2016, I believe.
2016. Yeah, like they had so many like drone.
Oh no,
shot...
wait. No, this is 2022.
All right, this was 2022.
Yeah, Nice Guys was 2016.
God, man. Like, so many of the shots were just, like, drone footage, basically, of, like, the camera fucking zooming in and then zooming out, and you're like...
Yeah.
I get it, dude.
You know what? I didn't
put a camera on a drone now.
Yeah. I don't think I realized that it was the Russo brothers, so that kind of checks out that it was a little...
Yeah. I mean, I think that's why Chris Evans was in this. From doing the Marvel stuff with them.
Yeah.
It's just such a forgettable action movie.
Yeah. It really just does not have a lot of depth. You know.
No. And the writing's not fun either. Like, the dialogue, again, very, like, it's just kind of cringy.
Yeah.
Like, basically every conversation between Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans' character was just, like, painful, man. And Chris Evans, I think partially he's, like, hamming it up a little bit, but also his character is just, like, incompetent, you know? And so, like, you don't believe that he has created this, like, big mercenary group kind of thing.
Have you seen Bullet Train?
No.
See, now that's one, like, I enjoyed that movie. I've actually seen it twice. This is just, like, if for some reason, like, like something about the premise just, like, being these, like, kind of, like,
basically
like,
hitmen.
spy. Yeah, basically hitmen or spies or whatever, like, kind of at odds with each other. It's a similar premise in that regard. It's just Bullet Train did it so much better, and it actually is, like, an entertaining kind of quippy movie.
Yeah.
That one I think is, like, Brad Pitt and what's the one dude's name? I can't remember. There's, like, a couple big names in there. I know Brad Pitt's, like, the big one.
Yeah, it's got the kid from Super.
Yes, that's who I'm thinking of. I can't remember his name.
His
his character and his partner, because, like, it's him and a partner that are on the train. They're pretty funny, but yeah, that was actually a pretty enjoyable movie. This one is just, like, if you dialed that down to, like, generic levels.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, it's also got
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yes, Aaron Taylor Johnson. It's also got the one girl, Joey King. She's in that too.
Oh yeah, I forgot he's gonna be Craven the Hunter.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, I just don't think that movie's gonna be good.
Yeah, I think Marvel's just fallen too far off now. They've lost their way. But back to Gray Man. I feel like it's so generic and it's so forgettable that we're sitting here trying to, like, come up with something to talk about for it, and instead we're just going on tangents on, like, this movie's better, these actors are good.
Yeah. It's also annoying that, like, they never use his real name. He's just called Six for the entire movie.
Oh yeah.
Like,
no, because he has
like
because his real name's Cortland Gentry. It's just, I'm pretty sure you only ever get that at the very beginning when you because I think it was, like, he murdered his, like, dad or stepdad or
like
someone.
his intro.
And, yeah.
But then, like, they never return to his name. It's like,
yeah, he's only ever
humanize
6.
him again.
No, he's just a number. Which I think they're trying to do the whole James Bond 007 sort of thing, but it's like, at least he gives his name other than just, like, I'm literally just, my identity is this fucking number.
Yeah. Good God, man, this movie had a budget of $200 million.
Yep, and then what it box office 454K, at least according to Wikipedia.
Well, this was also the middle of last year or so. Things were.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know how they measure that with streaming.
Totally shut down, but, like,
no, but I mean, it definitely was one that straight up came out on streaming, so I don't really know how you measure that.
Yeah, I don't know either. I guess you'd have to, like, go into the watch hours and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Which
probably that's usually
explains
the
length of this movie, because it's a 2-hour movie and it's like probably 30 minutes too long.
Oh yeah.
Like, it starts to get really boring after that, like, hour 20 mark.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm kind of with IMDb on this. 6.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was actually just gonna give it a straight 6.5 probably. Yeah, I think there are some parts of it that I'm like, yeah, it's
I mean, it's definitely
It's
better
action.
than.
Future World.
It's definitely better than Future World.
Nothing. I don't think anything. I feel like we need to go on a mission to find a movie worse than Future World.
God, dude, that'd be so easy.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah, probably Smoking Aces too.
Never seen
Which
it. But...
was something I wanted to bring up actually. Was Smoking Aces is like a much campier movie with a much larger cast, and it's just like way more fun. It's got like Ryan Reynolds, a bunch of other people in there. Chris Pine actually is in there. Kevin Durand, I think his name is. Durand. Right? Yes, Kevin Durand.
I don't know.
You'd recognize him. He's been in fucking just about everything. Anyway, so that's a movie about like a bunch of different hitmen trying to all kill this one same dude, and it's about like Ryan Reynolds as an FBI agent, like trying to get the guy to live, you know, and it's fucking hectic, dude, because you know how like the different little mercenary groups in this movie don't really have their own identities. It's just like soldier guys A, soldier guys B, soldier guys C, you know?
Mm-hmm.
There's like nothing different about them. That movie is fucking insane, right? Because Chris Pine, Kevin Durand, and I forget who the third guy is. They're playing these like hillbilly, redneck, white nationalists who, I mean, they're like throwing fucking chainsaws around and shit. Like it just gets hectic. You've also got like the real cool guy, and he meets the super sniper lady, and they like have a little romance that happens in the middle of all this shit. And like another one of the FBI agents gets like wounded, and it's just fucking insane. It's just an insane movie. And like I would recommend that to someone before I recommend The Gray Man to someone, even though like objectively The Gray Man is probably a more generally acceptable movie, whereas like Smoking Aces is just like campy, it's fun, it's high octane. It's like I think everything this movie kind of wanted to be, but The Gray Man just takes itself too seriously. Does that make sense?
No, yeah, I get that.
It takes itself too seriously, but then the dialogue is like not good.
There's some movies that you're like, this movie was like meant to be a serious movie, but it's just like not done well, versus like something that's like, this is meant to be like ridiculous and campy and really stupid, and it pulls it off.
Yeah, like Smoking Aces is meant to be over the top, and it's like fun despite the fact that overall it's not really a good movie.
Yeah. Fair.
Like if I gave this a 6.5, I'd probably give Smoking Aces like a 7. It's like dead center in my would recommend.
Mm-hmm. Fair.
I don't know. I don't have much more to say about this.
Yeah.
Except for Ana de Armas was in it too, and the two of them are in the next movie together.
Oh yeah.
I guess that's our transition. So, Blade Runner 2049, Ryan Gosling and Ana de Armas.
Yes.
Theatrical power couple.
Apparently, yeah. Blade Runner 2049. I guess we can go into this with also saying, like, I had not seen original Blade Runner, and I watched it before I watched this to make sure I got it. Like got the full thing. Really liked this movie.
Yeah, I mean, Denis Villeneuve directing, it's a visual delight. I kind of wish that we had done like a Denis Villeneuve trio of movies, because we could have done like this, Dune, and oh god, I don't even know what else he's done. But like his movies are always very pretty.
Yeah.
Arrival, Prisoners, Sicario. He's like very much got that like. I think he's French Canadian, and he definitely has that like sort of French eye for science fiction. Like,
Yeah.
if you're familiar with like, I think Mobius was the famous comic artist. He did a bunch of art too, but he was a French guy who kind of like defined the visuals of science fiction for a real long time. He did a bunch of comics for heavy metal back in the day. A lot of those were pretty like fundamental to American sci-fi visuals.
Yeah. Yeah. Nope. I don't know how you feel about it, like this one versus the original. I liked this one more.
Here's a question. Which version of the original did you watch?
I think I watched the final cut like you told me.
Okay, that's good.
I
Yeah, because the theatrical release of the original is like not so good. The final cut is definitely like a much darker film. It doesn't have like the voiceover stuff going on the whole time. And originally they added the voiceover in because like studio execs were like, we don't think that audiences are gonna understand what's going on in this movie. So they had Deckard doing like a film noir detective voiceover for stuff.
Yeah, I definitely didn't have that in this.
Yeah.
I'm assuming I watched the final cut. It didn't like specify that, but yeah, I didn't have any sort of like voiceover thing. I definitely got it like pretty.
Yeah. Also, like the endings of the two different movies are very different. At the ending of the theatrical cut, theatrical release, Deckard and what's her name? Rachel. They're like driving off through a forest with like sunlight coming in and all this, and it's like a weirdly optimistic, hopeful, bright ending for a movie that like is supposed to be a science fiction film noir.
Yeah.
Whereas like the final cut is like, I think the last thing you see is like the elevator doors closing and the little origami unicorn.
Yep, that was what I got. I have a question for you. Do you so there's always like theory, like people always talk about like is Deckard a replicant? Have you like seen that there's like debate about this?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's put to rest with Bladerunner 2049 now, because like he's pretty clearly like, I don't think they outright say it in this movie, but whenever Jared Leto's character Wallace is talking to Deckard, and he's like, "Don't you think you were like made to like at the moment you saw her like fall in love with her, like that kind of thing?" I think it's implied that like Deckard was made for Rachel and Rachel was made for Deckard, so that they together could create an entirely synthetic what do they call them in here? Replicants. Like a birthed replicant, basically.
Yeah, I kind of got that, and then I after watching them both, I was curious because I know they're not like pretty explicit with it, so I kind of like wanted to see people's takes on it as far as like Reddit goes. I found a really cool theory that was basically that like essentially like Gaff, like the guy with with the cane who's leaving the origami,
Edward James Olmos, dude.
Yeah,
you know what else he's been in, right?
What has he? I know he was in 12 Angry Men, right?
I mean, most famously, he's the captain of the Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was in the original show, and he's in the. I think he's like Admiral.
Yeah.
In the. I say newer show, but when did that show come out? Like the mid 2000s.
Oh yeah.
That's a really good show, by the way, if you haven't seen it. If you're looking for like some sci-fi shit, I don't know if it's streaming anywhere. It's probably not, knowing my luck.
Battlestar?
Yeah, that was a tangent, though.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Also, to kind of put this into context, William Gibson, who I bring up probably every episode, father of cyberpunk, was in the process of writing Neuromancer when the first Bladerunner came out. He saw it and he went, "Fuck! They already made my story I was writing." And he went home and I think he said he rewrote the first chapter of his book about 13 times.
Damn, that's funny. But yeah, this theory was basically that like, essentially, Gaff was like the best ever Blade Runner. Like he was the guy, and then due to injury, actually retired, and then they essentially created Deckard as a replacement for him, and they put the theory was that like they put Gaff's memories into Deckard, and then they were saying like that's why like it seems like Gaff kind of knows what Deckard is thinking or what he's doing, and why he leaves like the origami around as like a you know, kind of like a I know or I relate to what you're doing, or like I know what's going on here.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of interesting because in the theatrical release, Deckard kept having dreams about a unicorn, and Gaff leaves him the like unicorn origami.
Yeah.
I don't think that's in the final cut though.
It's not, no.
Yeah. I mean, the unicorn origami is, but I don't think the unicorn dream is.
I don't recall the unicorn dream being in there.
Yeah.
But no, I thought that was an interesting theory. It was also a Reddit post from like 11 years ago. That someone was just like posting about being like, yeah. So it didn't account for anything in 2049.
Yeah.
But no,
I also say 2049 is a 2 hour and 43-minute movie, and doesn't feel like it.
Yeah. No, it definitely went by. I remember getting through and being like, holy shit, this is almost 3 hours long. But
like it's paced really well, I think.
It is paced very well. I also, I think something I appreciate in this is they set the tone and the setting very well. Again, obviously visually stunning. You know, you get like the big holograms and the signage. You get like these shots of like the dams with the water flowing. Beautiful scenery.
Yeah, every time the police car is like flying out over the city.
Yeah,
those shots are like so long, but like they're so pretty.
Beautiful.
Like the visual effects in this are very, very good.
Yeah. I also like how they really, I think they dug more into kind of this this prejudice and fear against what do they refer to them as? Skinners? Or skin suits, or whatever they were calling them in the movie.
Replicants.
Yeah, so the replicants, I remember...
That's not use slurs, Scott. They're called replicants.
Yeah, no. But yeah, no. It's very clear that, like, there are slurs to refer to them as, you know, less than... I mean, their whole thing is they're more than human, or whatever their catchphrase was, and then it's very clear that humans view them as less than, you know. But,
yeah.
I liked the plot. The plot was good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the plot's very good. I think they do a pretty good job of kind of obscuring the twist.
Yeah.
But then, like, if you watch it again, then you get all the clues that you kind of missed the first time.
Oh, yeah. Well, it was definitely like when they hit that twist and you see her, like, you have like the kind of flashback of her viewing the memory and crying, and I was like, it makes fucking sense.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll
also say I think this is one of the only roles that I've seen Jared Leto in where he's not completely fucking obnoxious.
Yeah. Unbearable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's actually pretty good in this movie, and I think it's because he has like a more suppressed, like low energy character.
Yeah.
Because like his character in Fight Club is a little shithead, and you're actually pretty glad whenever he gets the fuck beat out of him.
Yeah. No, and I actually, yeah, I don't think I have any issues with any of the acting or actors in this. Um, I pretty much enjoyed everyone that was in it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's Ryan Gosling, it's Harrison Ford, it's Ana de Armas, Mackenzie Davis, Sylvia Hoeks.
Dave Bautista at the very beginning.
Oh yeah, Sapper Morton. That's a good name, dude.
That is a great name.
I'm gonna name my next dog that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
You got Lenny James, better known as Morgan from The Walking Dead.
This is kind of funny because he's also in Dune, but David Dastmalchian, do you know who he is?
No, but I've recognized him. He's Coco, right? He's the guy who like ends up getting his fucking like spine fucking busted
he
by
gets fucking karate chopped in the back of the neck and just like goes
by
down
Love.
bleeding.
Yeah, I've recognized. I recognized the face from. I've definitely seen him in something.
Well, he's in Dune. He's also in The Dark Knight.
The Dark Knight probably is one I recognize him from.
Apparently, he's in Oppenheimer. He's in Last Voyage of the Demeter. Oh, Jesus. Oh, he's in Prisoners, another Denis Villeneuve.
He was in Ant-Man and the Wasp. And Ant-Man.
Yeah, he plays the, he's one of the, like, ex-criminal crew.
Yeah.
Wow, he's only 6 foot tall. Short ass bitch. Yeah, I mean, overall, good cast.
Oh yeah. Yeah, fantastic. What else was I gonna say? Oh yeah. We'll talk about Ana de Armas and her role in this as the AI girlfriend.
Yeah, so that's where like most of the value of the movie comes from, right? Is this discussion of emotions, attachment, whether it matters if something is like an artificial life form or I mean, they have that phrase, right? Like, oh shoot. It's the line that Officer K has with Madam, what's her name? Lieutenant Joshi. He says, anything that's... What is it? It's like anything that's been born has a soul.
I can't recall.
He says something along those lines to her.
Yeah.
Because I think she implies that he might have to kill some like human beings. Like, are you okay with that? He's like, well, you're telling me I have to, so you're the one in charge.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. She basically tells him you might have to kill some people, and he's like, anything that's been born has a soul. And she's like, is that going to be a problem? And he says, nope. But then that becomes like kind of the gist of the movie, right? Because the overall plot is these two replicants had a child, and if the wider world knows that replicants can have children, then that's gonna like start a war basically, because they have incorporated replicants into society. If replicants know they can have kids, they're gonna fucking riot. If people know that replicants can have kids, they're gonna fucking riot. And at the center of it is this replicant child who conceivably has a soul, or maybe doesn't. Depends on your view of life, I guess. Which is probably a greater philosophical argument than we're able to get into here.
Yeah.
I
mean, altogether, I really enjoyed the plot. It built up slowly, I felt like, because it was kind of like, okay, it starts out with, and pretty much from beginning to end, every part of this movie has, it serves a purpose in the greater plot of the film. It starts with him, going after this replicant, going after Sapper, who obviously was involved in hiding, the the bones of, I think it was Rachel's bones, right?
Yeah.
And some of the evidence, and was going to take it to the grave, and it just continually builds, even to the point of we kind of get into the middle of the movie where it's revealed that like this child was born of our original two protagonists from the first movie, from Deckard and Rachel,
Yeah.
and it's their kid, and so
it kind of confirms that they didn't have a happily ever after either.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think it does a really good job of being a standalone movie while also tying back to the original. Like, you could watch this like as a standalone film and still get the general gist of it, get everything you need to. But you're definitely treated. You're in for more of a treat. Had you seen the original?
Yeah, I would agree with you. If you've seen the original, I think you'll get a lot out of this one. I think you
definitely
need to have seen the original to.
Yeah, you'll definitely appreciate it more.
And also, this one doesn't ruin the first one, and the first one doesn't ruin this one.
Yeah,
there's a lot of movies like take for granted that you've seen the first one, and they'll just like tell you pretty much spoilers for the first movie. But you could watch this, be like, "Oh, this was really interesting," and then go back and watch the first Blade Runner, and still really enjoy it because the plot of that movie really doesn't affect the plot of this movie that much.
Yeah. No, and I'm glad we get the throwbacks of like the original recordings and some of the original footage from the first one that's like used obviously in like they play back. I think they at one point play back some audio, or Wallace is playing back some audio or something from the like the test that that Deckard gives to Rachel in the original one.
Love is actually showing Officer K.
That's it. That's what it was.
But I believe he does do some audio or something whenever Wallace is talking to Deckard.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah. No, definitely. I'm very glad I watched, because when we started doing it, I was like, I'm gonna just jump into this and watch it. And I was like, you know what? No, I really felt like I should watch the first one just to get more out of it. And I definitely did. So I'm glad I did it that way.
Yeah, I mean it's a very good movie. The first one's also a very good movie. The first one's a classic, I would say.
Yeah, I was gonna say I also like the we kind of have this like incident. It takes place in the same world, but things have definitely changed, and it's just kind of referenced, and talked about in passing, is like the blackout and kind of like this loss of information and loss of things, and how Wallace came back around and brought back the replicant process and everything once Tyrell and the Tyrell Corporation went out.
There was like a Netflix anime short film kind of thing called it's like 2026 Blackout or something like that.
Oh, no, I didn't. Have you seen it?
Blade? It would help if I could spell words right, dude. Blade.
You spelled it Bladerunner?
I did spell it Bladerunner. How'd you know?
Because that's what I did last week, remember? You gave me shit. I had to correct it in our chat, and then I still put Blade Runner 2077 because I was thinking of Cyberpunk.
Blade Runner Blackout 2022 is a 2017 tech-noir cyberpunk anime short film directed by Shinichiro Watanabe. If you're not familiar with Shinichiro Watanabe, he is the guy that... Can you hear the fucking squeaking coming through?
I just did for a second there.
Okay. About to go fight someone. So Shinichiro Watanabe is Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo, Space
Oh, nice.
Dandy. He was one of the guys in the Animatrix. He's just like a big name, very good.
Big anime guy.
Yeah, anime director and producer.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So yeah, I have seen this, and it is good.
Nice. We'll have to throw it on the list.
Apparently, Blackout 2022 is one of 3 short films that serve as prequels to the live-action Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah.
It's good shit, though. It's good shit.
Yeah. No. All in all, I enjoyed this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the movie that like cemented in my mind that Denis Villeneuve was a very, very good director.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorite directors visually, for sure.
Yeah. I'd say I'm gonna give it like a 9.
Yeah, I'll give it a 9.
Yeah, I think
the first Blade Runner for me is like a 9.5 though.
Okay,
sure.
So you do like the original better than the.
Oh, for sure, dude. Rutger Hauer at the end when he's got the fucking dove in one hand and the blood coming down, and he's got the nail through his other hand, and he's like literally this Christ figure, and he gives this speech about like tears in the rain. That speech is like fucking unbeatable, dude. That is one of the coolest movie moments in all of cinema.
I really did enjoy the ending on that one. I think for me, I just think
he's the epitome of the villain that you empathize with, right?
Yeah,
because he's like fully willing to just like murder people. Literally like shoves his thumbs through the eyes of his creator, and then he goes off and he like. You realize where that violence was coming from, right? And it's from this like longing for acceptance, and like I think that almost has more to say for today's like modern society than 2049 does, because like men's loneliness is at like an all-time high. We're looking at this like bleak, dark future where I mean a lot of young men don't see a future. Suicide rates are at the highest they've been in recorded history. And like it's bleak and it's dismal, right? And here you have this character that like at the end of the movie has a total switch in how you see them, right? So like you go the entire movie looking at this guy like he's a fucking psychopath basically, and at the end of the movie it's like he was fighting with everything he had just to live, and he was doing everything he could to try to get life, a little bit more life for him and his friends.
Yeah. No, I really enjoyed the first one. I think I liked the 20. I think I like 2049 better in like visual spectacle and setting. I don't know, something about it. I felt like I got more of like a feel for the world.
I mean, it's also easier to do that because you have established 100%. Visuals for cyberpunk, right?
Yeah.
For it's definitely dirty futurism.
Yeah, because I'm saying that, knowing that like obviously we're literally 20 years apart. I mean, 20 years later, we obviously have great CGI and.
If you look at Blade Runner in the context of its time, 1983 was like there was nothing like that movie out before it. Nothing.
Yeah. Still a great movie.
I mean that like I don't know what he made in between the two of those, but Ridley Scott going from like Alien to that movie, I mean he was foundational for science fiction film. Like we would not have the current atmosphere that we do for science fiction without Ridley Scott's like early movies in the science fiction genre.
Definitely.
God, dude, I'm so excited for Napoleon. Oh my God, I want to watch that so bad.
Yeah, I saw you posted on Twitter about it, or not Twitter, on Instagram.
Oh yeah. He's literally me.
I love it. Yeah. So
speaking of Ridley Scott, another guy that's been in a couple good Ridley Scott movies is oh fuck, what's his name? Nice guys.
Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
Most notably, Gladiator. He played Gladiator in the movie Gladiator.
He did indeed play Gladiator.
He played Gladiator. So this is the old Ryan Gosling, Russell Crowe team up from 2016.
A good old little kind of buddy cop movie, which I appreciate. I love a good buddy cop
what's
dynamic.
Great is that it's like a buddy cop movie, but it's not a buddy cop movie because it's a PI and a hired muscle movie.
Yeah. So they do kind of a new spin on the buddy cop sort of thing. They team up pretty early on in the movie, but it's just they're just literally a complete shit show.
Yeah. I feel
great.
like out of all the movies we watched that have been like comedies, this is the closest to like a full farce that we've gotten, except for like 1941, right?
Yeah.
So like 1941 is just like as farce can get. Where like joke setups in the beginning of the movie will come up at the end. Most of like this movie is kind of like one-off little goofs.
Yeah.
Pretty good movie, dude. The opening of this, where like the kid is looking at the fucking porno mag, and then
the car comes flying through with her in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great one.
Also, like, towards the end of the movie, whenever, like, another one of my favorite bits in this is Holland, Ryan Gosling's character, being like, I think I'm invincible. And then, like, he's, like, falling off of the roof, getting hit by cars.
Falling through glass.
Sort of, like, blown up by a grenade.
Yeah.
And, it's like, yeah, you're invincible, but at what cost?
Yeah.
Can't be killed, but will be permanently injured eventually.
Yeah. No. Great. I mean, it takes place in, 77, I believe, is when this movie takes place.
Probably. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was 77. Los Angeles, Hollywood, 77. No, I mean...
I feel like it's got a pretty good grasp on, like, the 70s feel, too.
That's what I was about to say. It definitely, like, especially, like, you go to that party, and I was like... I mean, granted, I'm pretty sure that, they're at a party for, like, porn stars. But I was like, damn, party in the 70s was probably wild.
Yeah, I mean, it was a porn producer's house party.
Yeah. But...
this movie's good.
No, it was, I mean, as far as, like, newer... I feel like comedies nowadays fall so short, and they're really cringe.
Oh, yeah,
and this one... Sure. This one did a good job, and, you know... also decent cast, you know, Russell Crowe, Ryan Gosling, obviously off rip, but...
Oh, our old friend Keith David shows up.
Yep.
I don't think we've seen him since the John Carpenter episodes.
Yeah. Who else? Matt Bomer. Just, I mean, even like the smaller names, just I felt like they played their parts well.
Yeah. Oh, I feel like everyone's solid in this.
Yeah. So
it's just like it's a fun little. I mean, we could put this in the same genre as like Bladerunner. It's a film noir basically. Because you got like a dead body shows up. Then there's a mystery introduced. Her aunt is like, "No, I saw her," and then they start putting the fucking mystery together, and it's good.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, this was my second time watching this, and I enjoyed it just as much as the first time.
Yeah, no, this was my first time watching it. I hadn't watched it. I think I watched it with Casey today, and she had seen it But even she was just like, yeah, it's a solid movie. So
Yeah.
I had a great time with it. There were definitely many times where I was just like getting a little chuckle out, you know.
Yeah.
Some good stuff.
I don't know, because like I don't want to say too much more, because if anyone wanted to watch this and hasn't, like, just go watch it, whoever you are.
Yeah, no, I'd say definitely worth a watch. It's on Netflix. Who doesn't have Netflix? You know, so do it. Go watch it.
Yeah, I guess we should say The Gray Man and The Nice Guys are both on Netflix. I think I rented Bladerunner on Amazon.
Yeah, Bladerunner is also free to stream on Max HBO.
Quote free.
Yeah. You gotta pay for it. You gotta pay for Max, but
man, I kind of would like to do like a little watch through of a couple different shows on HBO, just because I feel like you probably haven't seen them. Like, have you watched The Young Pope?
I haven't. No.
Oh man, that one visually delightful. Have you watched? I think it's Raised by Wolves.
No, I haven't watched that either.
Oh, Ridley Scott produced it. Also, a visual delight.
Well, guess what? You know what? I pay for Max, and apparently I can have 3 streams going at once. So if you want the login,
hell yeah, I want the login.
I'll just give it to you right now. I'll give it to you right now on recording.
No, stop! Our Berlin listener is gonna steal it from me. Yeah, Raised by Wolves. I freaking loved that show, and I never watched the second season.
Yeah. Yeah, I paid for... I can't remember. There was something I wanted to watch that I was just like... I was using my sister's Max login, and then she already had the max number of streams going possible, and I was like, well, fuck me then. I guess people... No one ever used that account, and then all of a sudden people were using it. So I was just like, I just have to get my own.
Man.
I mooch where I can, but sometimes I just have to bite the bullet. Well, I gave up Apple TV in order to which if you I don't know if did you ever watch the Severance?
Adam Scott show?
Yeah.
I saw bits and pieces of it. Shelby watched through all of it.
Yeah.
I think she really liked it.
It's a really good fucking show. That's
My
one.
issue is I completely distrusted Apple after
after Foundation.
Foundation.
Yeah. After talking to you about Foundation, I still haven't read it. I know I said I was going to. I will soon, I promise.
Dude, I'm pretty sure you can find like a dramatized audio version on Spotify.
Actually, you know what? I've got a fucking... I'm about to go bust out an 18-hour drive split between tomorrow and early Sunday,
yeah,
so I might just throw that shit on.
Because that's like really good, and also it'll take you through like I think the first 3 books.
Nice. I'll have to try to find it.
Yeah. Maybe after this, I will try to dig that up and send it to you.
Yeah, if you send it to me, I'll definitely put it on, because I can only take music for so long before I gotta put something on to listen to. It's like
an old school, like, I want to say like 60s or 70s, like straight up like audio drama. Like, it's
nice.
It's fucking cool.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
And if I remember correctly, it's pretty true to the books.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't remember them taking any absurd liberties with anything that I had listened to.
Yeah.
We got like 15 more minutes to hit an hour. What's your biggest fucking... What's your thing been lately? Like, what have you been obsessed with lately?
What have I been obsessed with?
Yeah, what have you been like, dude, this is all I can think about right now?
I mean, I've been on a health kick. I got back into running, and I've been researching running videos and just trying to get a plan together. I want to a year from like now. I want to be running a marathon. So that's what I've been. That's what I've been doing a lot. I also another cool thing I've been fucking around with is have you seen the little pocket emulators? I feel like they're like all over
No.
TikTok. They're all over TikTok and like all over. So I went ahead and bought one. They're just like basically like a little Game Boy. Here I can send you a little picture of like what the one I got is. They're pretty they're kind of cool.
What have you been playing?
I've been playing Pokemon Blue to start.
Oh my god.
I know.
Like the original Pokemon Blue?
Yeah.
Jesus.
So here, I'm gonna. Oh shit. Here you go. Here you go. I'm putting it in the general. So that's the one I got. It looks like that. It's literally like $50 or so. I got it for.
Interesting. Kind of
And
has
then
like an old school Nintendo look, but
yep.
the name on it.
The Miu Mini Plus is the model I got. There's also a company called Ambernick. They're apparently it's become such a big thing now. They have like so many of these like they're definitely like Chinese companies that are just making these like handheld consoles, little video game consoles. They have like some that are like kind of like long, like a Switch. They have like
Nintendo is very much not cool with people emulating.
Oh yeah, no, they're not. And so the companies get around this because like they're just selling these generic pocket handheld gaming consoles. Now they come with an SD card. Allegedly, they come with an SD card loaded with like thousands of games for like every kind of different console you could think of.
Old school Game Boy games weren't much more than like a few megabytes. So back when we were recording this on a SD card, I had like a 50 gig SD card. So I mean that could fit probably 100 or so games.
Yeah. So kind of what I have is what I allegedly have. Because this is something that's frowned upon, and Nintendo would probably go after you if you do this. So allegedly, I have a 128 gigabyte Samsung SD card that I bought as well. So an extra $15, so like basically $65 all in. $50 for the console, $15 for the 128 gigabyte SD, and then you like people make these like kind of cool. Third-party operating systems that work really well with it. So the one I have is Onion OS. It actually runs really well. And then you can just basically they have these like packs. I think the one I got, I can't remember what the one I got is called, but it's basically an all-in-one. Like you just download it. It's like 6 gigabytes. And it has all of them. It basically has the emulators for arcade games. So like OG arcade. I'm talking like the old X-Men, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like Galaga, like all those. There's a couple hundred of those. It's got old OG Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance.
Sponsor or something?
No, I'm just saying it's got all these different. No, I'm just saying it's cool because it's got like all these different gaming consoles. I mean, it's got all the way up to you can try to run like PS1 and Sega CD on it. They say some of the games will lag up a little bit. At least for this console, there's like higher end consoles you can buy that you can spend like $100 and then you can run up to like GameCube games and stuff.
Jeez.
But yeah, no. So just have all kinds of different games on it. And then it's cool. I mean, it can connect to Wi-Fi, and then on top of that, you can actually connect them together and play multiplayer together, like across consoles. So like if someone else has if someone has a second one, we can connect play and like play like arcade games together, or even like whatever like old like Super Nintendo games that are like multiplayer. You can play if you're like within a certain range of each other. So I've been fucking around with that. Yeah, I basically went through. I've only been playing Pokemon Blue, allegedly. and I kind of set it up to like favorite all of like the old nostalgic games I've wanted to play.
Enough of this
So
fucking nerd shit. All right. What I really wanted to talk about was Napoleon. Okay.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I forgot. You're obsessed with Napoleon right now,
dude. I've been watching so many of those like battle breakdown videos on YouTube. They're like 45 minutes long, and it'll give you like the context for why a battle is happening. Like I don't know if you know this or not, but Napoleon got his start as an artillery captain, and basically a city in the south of France on the fucking what is that, the one sea down there, revolted, right? And it was like, no, we're not going to be part of this new Republican France. And so they basically got support from a group of like allied forces, which were like the English, the Spanish, like a bunch of different people. And then Napoleon showed up and he pretty much took the town. It was like a very, very well executed plan. And I mean, from there it was history. It was like he fucking blew up, dude. And I don't know if you know this or not, but he's the first person that instituted like the core system, which is like the foundation of like every modern military now. So basically, instead of like your armies having your army just being one big fucking group that had to like move together, he had all these different regiments that could function independently of each other, and like each one was like a miniature army basically, which is like how our shit works now, you know?
Yeah.
And so that let them adjust to changing circumstances on the battlefield very quickly. It also let them like plunder the land and move independently of each other, so that they didn't have to get like bottlenecked going through a ravine or something, you know, like through environmental difficulties. So like the dude absolutely changed warfare. And then on top of that, I found a video talking about like the 5 or 6 top generals that like Napoleon thought were like the best generals of all time, right? And keep in mind, now Napoleon has like the most won battles out of any general in history. But he said like Frederick the Great, who is the father of like the modern German state. He was a king of Prussia. Well, first he was king in Prussia, and then the people loved him so much, and he did such a good job at like unifying and securing the freedom of Prussia from surrounding countries that they started calling him the king of Prussia. The dude brought potatoes to Prussia. People leave potatoes on his grave.
Shit.
He was fighting a war on like 4 fronts and not being absolutely trained. Like the dude was an amazing, like he didn't win every battle, but like he kept Prussia alive while it was at war on like 4 fronts. He also said like Alexander the Great, but everyone knows Alexander the Great, you know, and then also like Julius Caesar, but again, everyone knows Caesar. So I've just been like watching all these all these fucking war videos. They're just like about little battles that happened and why certain people won and why other people didn't win. Like Frederick the Great had this one battle where he basically did a false retreat. The enemy army came around a hill, and they were all like in columns because they thought they were pursuing a retreating army, but the Prussians had just like switched their battle line basically, so just like rotated it around, and as they come around the hill, it was a fucking bloodbath, dude. The Prussians were outnumbered like 4-1, and they absolutely annihilated this Austrian army.
Yeah,
it was insane, dude. Insane. Also, he turned the Prussian cavalry from like one of the most middling, underwhelming forces in Europe into some of the most elite soldiery in Europe. Like, it's insane. I love it. I love that shit so much.
A lot of war documentary is what you're into right now.
Basically, yeah. I'm entering my.
I wasn't aware. So Napoleon comes out next week.
Yes.
Shit.
Yes. God, dude, I should get fucking IMAX tickets for that.
Yeah.
God, I'm so excited for that movie. Joaquin looks good. Ridley Scott looks like he did a great job with it. Ridley Scott was also saying that he, wherever possible, did practical effects. So some things are like composite shots, but it's still practical. It's like they had exploding ice and they had like cannons firing and they just make a composite of it. Yeah. But like he said, they did as little CGI as possible. Also, Frederick the Great had somewhere around 9 horses shot out from under him over the course of his lifetime.
Jeez.
Yeah.
It's pretty
Napoleon
insane.
in his first battle took a bayonet into the leg, into the thigh. Like, if that bayonet had been like 3 or 4 inches farther to the inside of his thigh, that could have changed the course of all of history.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind, dude, because these guys were like dudes who were fighting with their soldiers, right? So like Alexander the Great fought with his men, Frederick the Great fought with his men, Napoleon fought with his men until a little bit later, and then I think he was mostly leading from the back. But that's just because his armies were like so much larger than when he started out.
Yeah.
Also, the Emperor of France, like he fucking crowned himself emperor in a bloodless revolution after the fucking French Revolution happened, and they were like, no more kings. Yeah, like, you know, like Rowboat Gilliman from Warhammer 40k.
Rowboat Gilliman.
He's basically Napoleon if Napoleon hadn't like been usurped.
Nice.
Like expert bureaucrat, expert politician, expert fucking general. Like
he's the guy who gets to wield the Emperor's sword, right?
I believe
Isn't that
so.
a thing? Yeah, I thought that was the lore. I remember correctly. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he goes and talks to the Emperor, and the God Emperor gives Gilliman his.
Because he's a very good boy. Unlike that damn the one guy.
I'm just interested to see what you say. Who was he?
Fuck. What was his name?
Horus?
Horus, the Horus Heresy. Horus.
Oh my god.
Horus, who betrayed his father.
Yeah, I mean, he also killed my favorite Primarch, so...
Yeah, he killed Sanguinius.
Yeah.
Damn.
Alright, so I think next week we'll just fucking watch Raised by Wolves, and we'll talk about that, because I fucking love that show.
Maybe.
And also AI Girlfriends.
We'll see. We might have to skip the episode next week.
What the fuck, dude?
Maybe do a mini episode, because I'll be traveling a lot, and I'll be away from home.
Alright, maybe we'll just do AI Girlfriends.
Should we just go see Napoleon together and do an episode together on Napoleon? Like literally go see it and immediately do an episode?
Are you gonna be down here?
Yeah, I'm leaving tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I got an 18-hour drive ahead of me.
Oh, I didn't know you were coming down here.
Yeah. I'm coming down there. I'm gonna be at my parents in somewhere nearby. I don't want to dock them.
Out the water.
Yeah. Well, no, because they're inland now. You know, they're where you used to live. They're out there.
There's water inland, you dingus.
That's fair. So now we're coming. So we're gonna get in. We're gonna get in like Sunday afternoon, and then we're staying until we're staying until Sunday after.
Doesn't want to listen to this. Okay.
Yeah.
We can talk about this after the podcast. But if you listen to this point, you're a fucking champ. You put up with a lot of nonsense at the end of the episode there.
Yeah.
if you want to support the pod, you can do that at patreon.com/badpipespodcast. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can do that at
Bad Pipes Pod.
At Bad Pipes Pod. If you enjoyed the music is by Carl Casey at White Bat Audio. And if you wanted to send us an email, you can do that at official something or other, cryptidworksofficial@gmail.com. Yeah. Okay, I love you. Good night.
Bye.